Well guys, here is a brand new Victoria free after action report, as I decided this time to play Cuba. Thank you Windows, can you stop doing that sound please? Thank you. So anyways, as I was saying, I played as Cuba, which unlike in Vicky 2 where you have to play as Spain and force them, just give up Cuba, Cuba was already somewhat independent. They were just a colony or a puppet basically. So yeah, thankfully Cuba is very good on resources at the start of the game. Coal and iron. Oh boy. And then later on in the game, oil, which was awesome. And rubber too. So anyways, so I was under the Spanish mark at the beginning of the game. So what happened would be is, since Spain had like no coal or iron, as I built it up, it turned out that I was providing most of the economy for Spain. I guess no surprise being a colony and all that. They were taking all my coal and iron and leaving me with pretty much nothing somehow. It was really annoying. But I was too weak to do anything about it, so I said, fuck it, and just got to deal with it. So I just kept building up, and building up, and building up, and building up, to the point where I think I started off with like, I think like our GDP was like under $1 million or something like that. I got all the way up to like 8.3 million in 1873 before I decided to fuck it and let's kick out the Spanish oppressors and declare independence. And Spain even had China on their side, and I still won because they didn't invade me. So I won by default. That's so funny. So yeah, once that happened, both me and Spain's economy died. I quickly spent the next few years rebuilding it, getting almost back up to where it was, and I eventually started invading all of Haiti. I even beat the crap out of Spain again to take Puerto Rico. And the weird thing was, China and Japan was on their side and they joined the war. I took over Puerto Rico very quickly. China, near the end of the game, near the end of the war, when Spain was about to lose, China comes in and actually almost entirely invades me. And I think they either almost did or did, but they were beating me pretty badly. Yet despite that, China gave up. They just gave up like that, even though they could make the argument that the war was won on their side. But I still won in the end because I took Puerto Rico. Then, when the opportunity finally came, I decided to become part of America's market. So yeah, with all the supplies, then America starts sucking up all my resources, especially when I discovered oil, and for the entire game, no matter what I could do, I could never get enough oil, as you can see right here. Never, ever, ever, ever can get enough oil, because America kept just sucking it up. Hell, I even started to go around more invading others. I invaded this part of Dutch Guyana. I took that over very quickly. And I took over Panama from Colombia, or New Granada. I actually formed Panama Canal. I took over almost all of Central America, as you can see. I even, for the oil, I decided to invade Oman, because they had a shit ton of oil at the time. But that was still not enough for America. So, of course, I was not strong enough to take over countries by default, so I decided instead to do a sneaky, cheesy way. Puppet and then annex them later. So that's what I did with Venezuela, the rest of New Granada, Ecuador, and Graupará, which actually survived this point of the game. And then British Guyana broke away as West Indies, so I puppeted them and took all the stuff over here. And then near the end of the game, when I finally figured out how to annex puppets, since I did randomly out of nowhere my Greece game recently, I went and did that and spent the last like 2 years taking over everyone. Now I have like all of Northern South America. Unfortunately, my economy pretty much died for like the last 30 years of the game because of stupid welfare payments, looks like, which makes no sense to me because I am the most wealthiest country in the game in terms of standard of living. 22.7! Even our poorest pops are secured. So how can we have welfare payments? Should it be literally 0 because everyone's wealthy? Like, come on! That made no sense! And my GDP, at the end, at the highest was almost 145 million, went down to 124.5 million, unfortunately, because of going in default, which caused a almost 30% for output, so my factory's doing 30% less than they normally would. So that hurt a lot of my stuff, but I had the 10th biggest economy in the world. This is my highest standard of living ever, too, in all the games I played, so that's awesome. And I was a major power. I got all the way up to 7th place at one point, I think, but I never came outright a great power, but I have the 10th biggest economy in the world, and if I was at where I originally would be, I would be almost top in America, which is insane. The fact that my GDP is bigger than, I'm beating Spain now, but bigger than freaking Russia, that's insane. My standard of living is the highest in the world, only being beaten by a country with 154,000 people. It's so funny. As Austria, as always, somehow, someway, always like the best country in the game in almost all my games. And 13th in population. So, yeah. I was doing a lot better than this would indicate like the last few years because I went to default, but I was going to go in default anyway, so I said, fuck it, and just help my pops as much as possible to keep that standard of living up high and all that. So, yeah. This is one hell of a strange world as always. This game needs to be fixed so badly. And plus, of course, add micro in so I can actually have fun for all my armies around destroying everyone and all that. But yeah. And of course, they need to fix it where if your overlord like America keeps having a faster communist rebellion, it should not fuck up your economy so bad. And then when the rebellion's over, it should instantly fix. So yeah. This was wacky. Insane, probably the weakest country I played as, but I mentioned when I overthrew the Spanish oppressors, and I became American colony, and became a major power, and took over all of this. This is honestly, I think, even better than my results in Vicky 2 when I played Cuba, even though I took over parts of the American South. Unfortunately, though, this is my worst game in terms of my score. It was over 900 at best, but that still would have only been second best, so... Despite the interesting game, this is my worst scored game all time right now. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed, and now let's go take a look at the final results.